One thing that I've realized as I've gotten older is that it is so.
Okay, first off, go back and watch that. That's actually a good video that I actually agree. Now, for the record, the guy is talking about people being bitter as to why it's valid for them to be bitter. Not always, but in terms of life goals. And I just want to input with that with me. Yeah, there was a time that I had goals in my life that I wanted to do and strive for and accomplish, and all in all, it never really materialized, let alone worked out, especially in the last several years. Thus, I have become intrinsically bitter about it and overall nutty in the spur of the moment, if that makes sense to anybody. But even though I'm justified for that, sorry, but at the end of the day, I just need to have some composure and some rationale with me to not let that get in the midst of what I'm doing in the spur of the moment at at, at the here and now. Because thinking about that, and especially having some regrets in your life, or constantly being enmeshed with it, yeah, it tends to make people nutty and crazy. Like, I know that very well, and I can't really forgive myself for exacerbating or having that propensity of it, to which I don't blame anybody for for their justifications as to why you know they may have a problem with me or whatever, or my approach or my tone. Not saying that my rationale or the way how I convey myself is wrong, or let alone in terms of the way how I convey or approach the people. Suffice to say, it's always been a mixed bag, but at the end of it, I don't really let it get to me in terms of having goals like I should have done, but never really manage or accomplish. But it is what it is, unfortunately. Well, let me add this last point, and that's this. Like, granted that life can be a pain in the ass, it could be, stressful, which is understandable, and I'm not negating that. I'm firmly aware. Like, I've dealt with a lot of shit in my own fucking life in the last several years, to the point where I just kind of judge as to why I'm even doing this. But again, like, I need to have some sense of rationality in my head to think and not overdo it, or let any odd thoughts go into my head get the best of me, because it's not good. And furthermore, when people have, like, or should I say, develop some type of addiction per se, as per with that, as being bitter, well, you can understand why, why they have it. But at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't really judge as to why they do it to begin with. Whether let's say a individual is a alcoholic, a heavy pot user, a chronic, you know, what, those really intense dope fiends. That's how I'm gonna classify it. I can't really delve into what I'm trying to say out of my mouth, but needless to say, like, yeah, it's a mixed bag, but never really let it get to you a lot, because it will make you crazy when it comes to not fulfilling any life goals or any things that you wanted to do in life. I learned that, and I learned that the hard way, without anybody or any emotional support per se, for that matter, let alone like a role model these days. Because it seems that, I'm not saying this to anybody that's on here, that no matter how much of the effort that I do or say, or let alone be in the presence of anybody, people always have like a mixed reaction with me, or always tend to be finicky with me. And this is why I get really begrudging to be open to anybody, because I feel like regardless of my own issues, I feel like people are just bothered by my own presence, you know. Like, I'm aware that's an insecurity of mine, but I tend to understand and read people more on the basis of what they do, and let alone their face reaction as well, to which it's never been that much of a great success, but I can understand your own personal insight by the way how you operate and move in front of me. Yeah, this is like a long video, but I'm sorry, but that's my 2 cents on this.